By the end of this video, you're gonna have absolutely everything that you need to build your home and about page on your new website. What's up, everybody? Welcome to day 2 of the Jumpstart campaign, where I'm gonna be teaching you how to build a website in 4 days flat. How are we gonna do that? Well, it's through the power of Show It, but also a little bit of help through ChatGPT. If this is your first time joining us, I want to encourage you to go back and watch video 1, where I talk a little bit about the lay of the land, how to get ready for building your website. Now, there is some prep work that needs to be done just to make sure that you can seamlessly go from one day to the next. In the last video, we talked about how to set up your Show It account and also how to inventory your new template so you knew what kind of stuff you needed to be ready to have. Now, it's almost like we're cooking a meal for our family, and it's gonna be chef's kiss, right? But before you cook any good meal, you've got to do a little bit of prep work. You got to make sure you got the spices laid out. You got to make sure that there's, chicken that's been thawed or whatever it is that you're eating. So go back, do some of that prep work so that you can be ready for when we dive into actually making some copy and finding some images for our new pages today. But today we're actually going to dive right in and create some copy for our website and find some images. Now, we're using my website as an example, and I'm building out a website for my web design business because that's what I do. And so it's needing a refresh. So I figured I might as well use a Show It template to go ahead and do that. A lot of the time that we're going to be spending today is going to be spent on creating the copy or the words for our website. Now, why are we taking more time on words than other things like images or whatever? The reason is the thing that I have seen make the biggest difference in clients' websites through the years is the messaging. It's the copy, it's the words, it's the thing that we're putting on the page that folks are reading and is either motivating them to actually sign up or buy, or is making them go, this isn't for me. Now, you don't need to be a full-fledged copywriter in order to make a really awesome website. You just need to know what to look for, and you need a little bit of help from ChatGPT. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you how to do today, because that's actually what I use in my own business working with full-fledged clients. So you should have a copy template that's going to work like a prompt with ChatGPT. If you don't have that, I'm going to link to it in the show notes on this very video. But this is what we're going to use to kind of get us started. So I'm just going to go through this prompt and kind of talk about what you're looking at and what you can do to make it your own. So the first is just the prompt itself. It says, I'm creating the copy for my website and I need your help. I'm going to give you information about me and my company and ask for you to give me copy for specific sections. I'm using a website template to build the website, and I need you to give me back copy within the same amount of words on the template. And then after that, it's just got some information about you. So background info about your business, background info on your target audience, maybe some customer motivations or customer anxieties, and then onto the services or products that you offer. Now, here's my big encouragement to you. If you don't really know what your customer motivations are or your customer anxieties, that's okay. You don't need to know it. In fact, you could even ask ChatGPT, what are some motivations that people might have to purchase from me? Or what are some of the anxieties that they might be experiencing before they say yes or before they buy? Don't let not having all of the information hold you back from just getting started, right? Just take this, put it into ChatGPT and see what it gives you back. I guarantee you that it's going to be something that is either 100% perfect or really, really close to what you're going to want to use. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to copy this entire thing, and I'm going to go over to ChatGPT, create a new little instance and paste it right in there. And so then from there, if I were you, I would go through and then write my own history, add some demographics like the age, gender, and location, but I've actually already done that, so you don't have to see me kind of thinking through it. I'm just gonna take this from this note and paste it in, hit enter, and then we're gonna let ChatGPT do its work. Cool, so it started giving me what it thinks I'm looking for, which is kind of the copy all said and done. Now, I don't necessarily want to do it this way. You could just take this and kind of fill in the gaps on your template. But I actually want to give it the specific template that I'm using, and then ask to give me a few different options so I can just kind of cherry pick the things that I'm really liking, and the things that I don't, I'm just kind of walking away from. So I'm gonna take the URL of the template that I'm using. So for me, it's one of our free templates called Relentless, but for you, it could be something else. So find that URL and then add a little bit of a different text underneath it. So I just said, here's the template I'm starting with. I gave it the URL. Let's just do the first section that says determine, focus, relentless. Give me a few options for those 3 words in the header and an option for the paragraph. So that's what I would encourage you to do. Just do it with your own template. So we're gonna let ChatGPT have that and see what it comes up with. And already I'm seeing that it's got some pretty decent options. So this first one is strategic, creative, and reliable. And I like that. Driven, strategic, innovative, dynamic, creative, results-oriented. I like results-oriented, but I want it to be a different word. So let's do this. I'm gonna take this and just say, I like results-oriented, but it needs to be just one word. Let's see what it says. Okay, so dynamic, creative, results. Not quite what we were looking for. Dynamic, creative, and proven. Dynamic, creative, effective. I like impactful. I think we're gonna go with impactful for our 3rd word. And that was already an option there. So I'm just gonna take this, paste it on in. And let's see. Strategic, I think, is another one that I really like. So we'll add that on the 1st word. And then creative, that's not a bad one. Yeah, we can use creative. I feel like I'm creative. I feel like that fits really well. So, and already I'm kind of liking this. It has the same kind of feel as the other one, even in terms of how big each of the words are. So if I just Command Z and backtrack a little bit, you could see that there's a long word and a short word and another long word, almost like a little word hamburger. So we're kind of still got that same look and feel as well. So it's gonna fit really well into the layout of this hero canvas already. All right, so now we need to change out this second little sub headline. So let's see what the options are. And you notice, like, I'm just kind of going through, finding the stuff that I like and just kind of putting it in, cherry picking. Just it doesn't necessarily have to be like, I've got to pick this one thing. You could even take one that's your favorite and say, okay, now give me a few options based on this. Like, you could just keep going down the rabbit hole until it comes up with something that you really appreciate. So let's see. At your company, we specialize in building custom websites that are as innovative as they are purposeful. I don't mind that. Focus on your goals, infuse your case, engineer to make a significant impact. I think I'm just gonna take this because I don't need all of this stuff right here. I might come back and try that later, but let's just see what happens. So the first thing I'm seeing is that this is gonna need to be a little bit bigger of a canvas now that I'm adding new words. So there's a couple places that you could do that. So if I just come over here and kind of grab this 2 little arrows that are sitting on top of each other and just pull down, notice how those numbers are kind of increasing or decreasing depending on the direction that I'm pulling them. So that's letting us know that we're making this canvas bigger, right? So another place that you can do that is actually right over here on the canvas panel. So if I just come through and say 960 pixels versus the 900 that it was, then it works. Now you'll notice that if you have something selected on this canvas, then that little property goes away. So you want to make sure that you either click off of the stage in order to deselect everything on this canvas in order for that to show up. So there we go. We've got that all moved. So now I'm going to bring this button down, and then I'm going to take this text and I'm going to make it bigger. And something I like to do, you could just take this and move it to the right and then center it up to the center to where it's just perfectly aligned to the very middle. But something that I like to do is just take the edge of this, click Option on a Mac computer and pull it, and then it'll pull in both directions. So it's not just making it bigger going one way, but it's actually making it bigger in both directions. Just kind of saves you a little bit of time. So then let's make the spacing a little bit better here and pull that up. And I think that we're looking good. Now, we don't want people to sign up today. Now, remember, this was a fitness template that we're going to be adjusting for a web design business. So I'm just gonna say, instead of sign up today, we'll say, start with a call. That way people know the first thing that we want them to do whenever they come to our website is to have a conversation with us. So that's all good to go. And I think that is gonna be looking pretty good. Now, something that I can do to check is just click preview and see how that's looking. Oh, okay, so we see something happen when we made that canvas bigger. There's actually a gradient element that is making it appear that these images are kind of fading out as we scroll. So we need to come through and just move that down. And you'll notice that there's a little lock icon on this element, and you can't see it because the gradient color is actually the same color as the background. So in order to kind of help out, I'll just change the color of the background really quickly. We'll make it that. And did that help it? No, I changed it to the same color again. So we'll go to black. There we go. Now you can kind of see it, and I'll move this back. So that's how this one kind of got away from us. It was just sneaking, hiding under there. So I'm gonna come through, hit this lock button, and then just pull it all the way down to the bottom of the canvas. Another way to unlock it is just to hit Command or Windows and then L, and that'll get rid of that lock to where you can kind of manipulate it the way that you would want it to. Okay, cool, so that's looking good. I'm gonna lock this back by hitting Command and L again, and then I'm gonna change the background color once more, and I think we had that as transparent. So now let's see how we're looking. All right, that is much better. But you'll notice we've still got these images in the back that are much more fitness oriented. So we need to find some new images to put here for our new website. So where do I do that? If I don't have the images, like hopefully you've got some really good branded photos, but if not, that's 100% okay. I'm gonna show you what to do outside of that. So there's a great website that I like called Pexels, and you can use any photo on here completely for free. So these don't have to be licensed. You don't have to pay in order to use these. So I'm just gonna come through and, let's just say web design and see what we get. I think that's probably not gonna be something that we're looking for. I like this, but it's got all of these really colorful kind of tones to it. And so I don't necessarily think I want to use that. I want something that's a little bit more muted. So why don't we do this? Why don't we say man at laptop? Because that might get us a good feel, but also allow us to have some similar colors. And I'm looking at this one and I really like this. And if you notice, like it's got some really similar shadings and colors as this image right here. So I think that this one's probably a good one. So I'm just gonna download this. And then what I like to do is I like to have just a whole bunch of folders that are organized according to the pages that I'm building. And then from there, I'll even have different sections for each of the canvases. So I can just kind of keep things super clean, and I don't have to wonder like, where was that photo that I downloaded that I wanted to use for this one thing? So I'm just gonna come through to my downloads folder. Just bring that down here, and I'm going to grab it. We'll just put it right there in the heroes section. All right, now I need one more image, and it looks like this one's a little bit more bright, but it's still got a lot of those gray tones. So let's see what we can think of. Maybe there's like a website or something that might work well here. So even like a black and white photo, I think I would be okay with. So not really seeing anything just yet, but this is all a part of it. Like you do a little search, you dig a little deeper, and then eventually you find something that is going to be really helpful. Okay, so I'm not really seeing anything for that second photo. So I might look a little bit differently. So let's say about internet browsing. Let's see what we get if we put that in there. And there's some great things. I still want it to be muted like that other photo was to kind of fit in. Maybe even like a black and white. So let's say black and white. Cool. I think we're getting closer, but we're not quite there yet. So let's see here if we can find something. This one's pretty cool. I'm gonna go ahead and download that just so that I have it. But that's not quite what I'm looking for. In fact, sometimes what I'll do is I'll just click on an image and see if there's another image that's closer to what I'm looking for within that same search. Now this is pretty cool right here. So I might take that and I might even click on that one and see if we get even more suggestions. So I think I might just go with that one because I think that's a really good one. Okay, so let's go back to our downloads folder again and say, let's take this and put that in the hero section. Cool. Now, if you wanted to, you could take these images and just upload them straight away to your Showit website. Showit has some compression tools that it uses to make files smaller when you upload them to your website. But these images are going to be pretty big in file size. So like right here, this one's 771 kilobytes and this one's 645. Now, that's not horrible, but I try to keep all of my images somewhere underneath 300 kilobytes. You don't necessarily have to do that. It's just a good suggestion, especially if you've got a website that's going to have a lot of images on it. There's a few ways to get some good compression on your images. I like to use a tool called ImageOptim, and it's a free tool that you can download. We'll leave a link to it in the show notes. And then all you've got to do is take your images and just upload them there. And it will, in real time, compress these a little bit. Now you can see it didn't take off much, but that's still a little bit better than what we have. So we're just gonna kind of keep with it. And then I can even make these smaller in quality to where it does even more on the compression. And then I could say, let's do it again. It's gonna go through and now these are gonna be even that much smaller. And we don't need these to be like full clarity, right? Because as you can see, the height and the width of these is not super big. Now, if this were a background image that was covering the entire web browser, then yeah, we would want it to be a little bit higher quality. But because these images are a little smaller, we don't have to worry about it too much. So I'm gonna come through and all I'm gonna do is actually double click on this image. And I think it was this one that we wanted to change. I'll add that there. It's gonna take a little bit of time to upload and then I'll click that. And now it should replace that image with the one that I uploaded. So there's a couple of things that we wanna make sure that we do. First thing, I wanna add an alt description because the alt description that was already on there was of the picture that we just put in there. So I'm gonna say, man typing on laptop. And for fun, you could even come over to good old ChatGPT and plop it in here and say, hey, give me a good alt description of this image. And let's see if it's gonna let me do that. It's being a little touchy right now. Let's see if I have to change over to a different model. So let's do that. And then we'll grab this, upload it. There we go. Give me an alt description for this image. Cool. And while it's thinking, I'm going to come through and I'm going to change out that other image on the website. So we're just going to do the same old thing, double click on that image, come over here and plop that right into there. Give it a second and then boom, it's ready to go. Now let's see how this is looking. Okay. There we go. There the images are showing up. So this image right here is pretty dark and you can't really see what's going on. And this is also on this side covering up. There's a lot of black in here. So one thing that you can do if something like that happens, and this is what I'm gonna do, is I'm actually gonna change out the opacity of these images. So if you click on the image and then come over to effects, and let's just bring this down to a 50% opacity and do the same thing here. Now those images shouldn't be nearly as obtrusive. And I think that's looking pretty good. It still gives the effect of somebody working on a laptop, a man with his computer. Now I could come back and change out these images a little bit later on, but I'm feeling pretty good about that. Now let's go back to ChatGPT and see if it's come up with something. And there we go, an alt description, a black-white photo of a person sitting in a chair using a laptop. This is great. And I'm just gonna come over and say, yes, that's exactly what it is. And that's way better than the small little alt description that I came up with. So I think that's looking good. And then we'll just do the same thing for this image right here and see how well it does. But give me an alt description for this image. This is the beauty of using ChatGPT to help us with our website. It's going to do a lot of the work for us to where we don't have to necessarily spend too much effort trying to think of things. So did a great job with this. I'm just gonna paste that in and we're ready to go. So from here, I would just go down the page one by one, just changing out each of the sections, copying each of the sections images. This is the idea, is it all kind of making sense? You just go one by one and you knock out every single section until you come to the end of the page. Your homework for today is going to be to go through all of your homepage and all of your about page using the tools that I've talked about today to kind of fill some of these things out. Here's the key, don't overthink it. Remember, this is an iterative process, right? The changes that you make today don't have to last forever, right? You're not printing out a book. You know, this is something that will live as an organism that's breathing and moving and changing. So go in and just get something down. Just start filling it out. And then later on, if you're not happy, you can come back and make changes. The point is just get some stuff in motion. The idea of objects in motion tend to stay in motion is true for physics, and it's also true for your websites, my friends. Tomorrow, we're gonna be doing the same thing, but we're gonna be working on our services page and our contact page. I'm gonna teach you how to develop a form so that it works well with your Show It website. I'll see you tomorrow.